Hi everyone, in today's lesson from Unit 3.2, we'll be taking a look at trapezoids. Now, in the past, you probably learned that the definition of a trapezoid was that it was a quadrilateral with exactly one pair of parallel sides. That's what's known as the exclusive definition of a trapezoid, and because of the Common Core standards, they emphasize using the inclusive definition of a trapezoid. So, we define a trapezoid as being a quadrilateral with at least one pair of parallel sides. So for many of us, teachers included, this is a big shift in our thinking. So for now, we'll still draw a trapezoid in the traditional way, what you've seen before, with our parallel sides. That's at least one pair of parallel sides. Those parallel sides are called the bases. And then the sides that are not parallel to one another, we refer to them as legs. Okay. If we have an isosceles trapezoid, that's a trapezoid with congruent legs. So again, we still have the two bases that are parallel to each other, but now we'd have information that the two legs were congruent. When you have an isosceles trapezoid, we have base angles that are congruent to each other. So in here, these two angles would be congruent to each other. Again, those are base angles. So that guy and that guy. We have a second pair of base angles that would be congruent to one another, those two at the top. So we can say for sure that the base angles of an isosceles trapezoid are congruent. Okay, in addition to the base angles of an isosceles trapezoid being congruent, if we drew in the two diagonals of an isosceles trapezoid, they would be congruent as well. So let's call this trapezoid A, B, C, D. And since it's the legs are marked congruent, then we can say for sure that AC would be congruent to BD. That's a theorem. Okay, that the diagonals of an isosceles trapezoid are congruent. Okay, in our first example, it says two base angles of an isosceles trapezoid have measures of 7x minus 20 and 4x plus 40. Well, first, I need to tell you that they're congruent base angles. So if this is our trapezoid, and we're actually going to be taking a look at these two angles right here. Okay, so if this angle is 7x minus 20, and this angle has a measure represented by 4x plus 40, and they're congruent, we're going to set 7x minus 20 equal to 4x plus 40. We're going to solve that little equation. So take and subtract the 4x from both sides. We're left with 3x minus 20 equals 40. Add the 20 to both sides. We now have 3x is equal to 60. Take and divide both sides by the 3, and we get x is equal to 20. Okay, the follow-up question says, what is the measure of each angle in the trapezoid? So keep in mind that these two bases are parallel. So take your 20 and plug it back in for x. So do 4 times 20 plus 40. 4 times 20 is 80 plus 40. It's going to give us 120 degrees. So this angle at the top would be 120, as with this one. Now keep in mind, because these two sides are parallel, and they're being cut by this transversal right here, the same side interior angles are going to be supplementary. So since this angle is 120 degrees, this angle would be 60 degrees. And we'd have the same measure down here. This would also be 60. Okay, the median of a trapezoid is a line segment that connects the midpoints of the two legs. So if this is one leg and this is the midpoint, we either are told that or we're shown that with the markings in the diagram. And on this side, that point is the midpoint of that leg. And this segment connecting the two is what's called the median. So again, the median of a trapezoid is the segment that connects the midpoints of the leg. Okay, the median of a trapezoid is parallel to the bases. So this will be, let's call it base 1, and this will be base 2. And the length of the median is equal to 1/2 the sum of the two bases. So you can say the median, again, the length of the median equals base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2, or you can say 1/2 of base 1 plus base 2. Okay, in our last example, it says the bases of a trapezoid are x plus 12 and 2x plus 14. If the median is 22, what is the value of x? And then the follow-up question, what is the length of each base? So let's just sketch out a trapezoid so you can see what's going on here. So one base would be x plus 12. Let's make that the shorter one. And the second base has a length represented by 2x plus 14. And then we have our median in between. So remember, median connects the midpoints. And we know that the length of the median is 22. Okay, so our formula for median said it's equal to base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2, half the sum of the bases. So let's plug in what we know. 22 is the length of the median, so set 22 equal to. Now let's find the sum of the two bases. We have x plus 12. Our second base is 2x plus 14. We want to divide all this by 2. So 22 equals a total of 3x plus 26, all divided by 2. Now, you could divide by 2. You'd have to work with a fraction or a decimal if you divided that 3x by 2. So instead of doing that, why don't we take and multiply both sides of the equation by 2? Or think of it as a proportion and cross-multiply. So take 2 times 22, we get 44. And that's equal to 3x plus 26. Okay, take and subtract your 26 from both sides. And that's going to leave us with 18 on this side. You get 3x is equal to 18. When we take and divide both sides by 3, that leaves us with x equals 3. X equals 6, excuse me. Okay, finally, we have to go back and answer the follow-up question. What is the length of each base? So base 1, which was x plus 12, that would be equal to 6 plus 12, which is 18. Base 2, which is equal to 2x plus 14, would be equal to 2 times 6 plus 14. So that's 12 plus 14, or a total of 26. Okay, as always, good luck on the CYU and the homework, and please make sure you ask questions when you get stuck.